Hello my good people, today we are going to make a video about Venezuela versus America. In case you didn't know, America hates Venezuela because of oil in Venezuela has reached the 26,000 oil and troops capture his dictatorship. In case he didn't know what happened in Venezuela in 1999, there was a dictatorship due to protests and explosions killing a lot of Venezuelans in 1999, and then Mata became the president of Venezuela, and today we are going to watch reaction. Make sure to like and subscribe, okay? Thanks for 371 subscribes.
Breaking news out of Venezuela. The White House has confirmed that President Trump ordered strikes on the country, which included military facilities. In a Truth Social post at 4:21 a.m., the president announced the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. That was from the President of the United States. In a brief phone interview this morning with the New York Times, the president celebrated the successful capture of Maduro, saying it involved, quote, a lot of good planning and lot of great troops and great people. It was a brilliant operation, actually. As a part of the campaign, at least 7 explosions rang out in Venezuela's capital, Caracas, in an attack that lasted less than 30 minutes, according to the Associated Press. When asked if he had sought congressional authority for the operation or what is next for Venezuela, Trump said he would address those matters during his news conference at Mar-a-Lago later today. According to Utah Senator Mike Lee, who says he spoke this morning with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Maduro has been arrested by U.S. personnel to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States, and the strikes overnight were deployed to, quote, protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant.
The aftermath of the U.S. operation that captured President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela and his wife, Celia Flores, Delcy Rodriguez, who's Venezuela's vice president, delivered a televised address to the nation amid the political crisis, because everyone's like, well, what the hell is going to happen now? In her speech on state television, she said a few things. She's called for national calm and unity in the face of what she described as, quote, an unprecedented military aggression and invasion by strongly insisted that Maduro remains Venezuela's only president. She demanded the immediate release or liberation of Maduro and his wife, rejecting U.S. intervention. She condemned the operation as aimed at regime change and resource seizure, and she left open limited dialogue with the United States, but only on terms respecting Venezuelan sovereignty. Now, her tone and message directly contradicts what President Trump claimed.
We're going to run the country until such time.
Apparently, she was sworn in as the interim leader shortly after Nicolas Maduro was taken from the country. Now, the situation remains pretty fluid, and Venezuela has declared a state of emergency, and I would say right now the international reactions are pretty divided.
2026 literally just started, and the world is already ending. Because what do you mean the U.S. kidnapped a whole president? Gang, this week has been absolute chaos. First, U.S. military launched a secret mission and kidnapped Venezuelan President Maduro while he was sleeping. They grabbed him and his wife in 11 minutes flat, dragging them out of bed, which is actually terrifying. Then, a massive tragedy happened in Switzerland on New Year. A bar used sparklers on champagne bottles. They hit the soundproof styrofoam ceiling and instantly ignite. Sadly, 40 people lost their lives. But then, Germany had a literal movie heist. Robbers drilled a tunnel into a bank vault and cleared out 3,000 safety deposit boxes. They stole gold, jewelry, and 95% of the inventory and vanished.
U.S. may soon strike Iran. Let me explain. Iran appears to be in the beginning stages of a revolution. This image here pictures roughly 25,000 people that have taken to the streets in Tehran. Additionally, it appears the government has shut down the internet in the country completely at the start of these protests, which is why the poster of this video is thanking Elon Musk for having plenty of Starlink satellites in the sky. On top of that, the capital's main airport here shows no activity whatsoever. And the few surrounding flights that we do see here that were bound for Tehran have not moved in a while and are not receiving any data. You can see this is the last point for this flight, and this was the last data point for that one. These also happen to be two of the most tracked flights in the world at the moment. But I did say the U.S. might strike Iran. Why would they strike during this revolution? Well, Iran has reportedly killed some people during these protests, and Trump said if that continues, the United States of America will come to their rescue. As the situation develops, I'll make an update.
Starting out 2026 with a bang. U.S. Special Forces, including Delta Force, just conducted an airstrike and a ground raid in Caracas, resulting in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, who they extracted from the country, and now they're extraditing them to the United States so that Nicolas Maduro can stand trial. Now, this appears to be more of a limited raid rather than a full-on regime change invasion, because there's no other troops in the country in Venezuela. They went in, they pulled Nicolas Maduro, and then they bounced. Either way, this does not appear to be a full-scale invasion, but more so a surgical strike, including Delta Force, and they conducted some softening strikes to make sure that when the ground raid landed there with the 160th SOAR, that they were able to get in, capture Nicolas Maduro at his residence, and fly him out of the country along with his wife without having to actually send in any large ground force. There's been a bunch of cell phone footage circulating that civilians recorded of the U.S. Army's 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, showing the CH-47 Golf Chinooks that they have, as well as other military helicopters flying pretty close to the ground over the capital of Caracas. In any case, President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social at about 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, saying, quote, "The United States of America successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." Of thousands and thousands of Venezuelans waking up this morning realizing that their communist dictator Nicolas Maduro has been captured by the United States military. Listen to this. You were wondering.
That's it. Yes, it's war. From now on, the Day-to-Day will be providing the most immediate coverage of any war ever fought. On the front line and in your face, Donald Bethlehem.
Standing by, Douglas Hurd.
The Day-to-Day smart bombs have nose-mounted cameras. This is Smart Bomb Stephen, and that is Susanna Gekkelois.
I'll be reporting from inside the fight.
Like some crazy Trojan. And keeping an eye on everything that's going on out there at the Day-to-Day news pipe, Douglas Trox. Chris, but first the weather from Sylvester Stewart.
I'm sure you're already aware of this, but on the 3rd of January of 2026, the United States conducted targeted military strikes in Venezuela, resulting in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. And we are going to be talking about it. Now, while some sources and commentators are trying to call this a full-on invasion, it appears to be a little bit more limited in capacity, specifically with the intent of capturing Maduro himself, rather than a full-scale occupation or regime change. President Trump posted this photo onto his Truth Social account on the 3rd of January of 2026, showing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in U.S. custody aboard the USS Iwo Jima, which is a U.S. Navy amphibious assault ship. Now, the image, which was captioned, quote, "Nicolas Maduro on aboard the USS Iwo Jima shows Maduro wearing a gray sweatsuit, holding a water bottle with his eyes covered with some sort of dark blindfold or goggles. Maybe they were letting him play a new Oculus they had. Maybe he's actually just playing video games in there. What do you guys think? Anyway, he appeared to be restrained from handcuffs or some sort of detainee cuffs, flexi cuffs, something like that. And this was shared just hours after the U.S. military conducted a large-scale operation to raid the house of Nicolas Maduro, capturing him and his wife Celia Flores in an overnight raid. They've been removed from the country and are facing long-standing U.S. federal charges related to narco-terrorism, conspiracy, drug trafficking, and weapons offenses. Now, this is the first real picture that's been shared of Nicolas Maduro since he was arrested and detained and pulled from the country, because the other ones that have been released so far were like AI or fake or altered photos. So this is the first real one. And my dude looks like he's prepping for a new Rocky film. Watch the director of the CIA's reaction when he hears President Trump say six. I want you to watch the director of the CIA's reaction when he hears President Trump say 6-7 during the press conference today about Venezuela.
A long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. A long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore.
I can watch this video and know for a fact that the director of the CIA definitely has kids, because he's definitely got some kids at the house talking about 6-7 for sure. Especially if he's chuckling about it during the press conference. You can tell me what this means.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has
now, in President Donald Trump's press conference today, he said that the U.S. was already there now, meaning in Venezuela, and that they would remain there until a stable handover could occur without providing any types of specifics on enforcement mechanisms like the duration of U.S. control, the role of military forces, or the coordination with international partners. The operation in Venezuela took over the entire news headlines yesterday, and so anything else major that took place got totally swept under the rug, especially this. On Saturday, North Korea launched at least 2 ballistic missiles somewhere near Pyongyang towards the Sea of Japan. Now, this is the first time that North Korea's launched a missile in 2026, which didn't take very long, did it? Anyway, Japan's Ministry of Defense, led by Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi, confirmed the launches and stated that the missiles flew on irregular trajectories. Apparently, the missiles traveled approximately 900 kilometers and 950 kilometers, reached a maximum altitude of about 50 kilometers, and landed outside of Japan's exclusive economic zone in the Sea of Japan. There was no damage to ships, aircraft, or other assets that were reported, and South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff also detected the launches as well around 7:50 a.m. local time, with similar flight distances reported. Now, the United States Indo-Pacific Command even made a post about it, saying, "Don't worry, there was no immediate threat to U.S. personnel, territory, or allies," and they emphasized close consultation. U.S. military operation that captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. They were flown to the United States to face long-standing federal charges related to narco-terrorism, drug trafficking, and weapons possession. A plane carrying them landed at Stewart Air National Guard Base in Newburgh, New York, and there's been multiple videos and photos from the arrival and subsequent processing circulated all over the place as well. Interestingly enough, though, he looked, or at least appeared to be, in good spirits, because he took a photo like this. January of 2026, President Donald Trump made some pretty strong statements during a White House press conference regarding U.S. interests in acquiring or taking control of Greenland. Check this out.
Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
2026 and we've already kidnapped 2 weeks into 2026 and we've already kidnapped the president, threatened a few others. Iran's regime looks like it might be cooked, and we still want green. Welcome to the new year, my friend. We'll start with Venezuela, where on January 3rd we kicked things off with an interesting start by sending in some of our freedom dudes to abduct the president. I mean, you can't make this shit up. U.S. forces carried out an operation in Caracas, Venezuela, that captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores. And the funniest part about it is I'm pretty sure his dancing played a slight role in pissing Trump off just enough to go in and kidnap him. Yeah, it's just a hunch, but we know this guy by now. Bro went on and on about how no one could touch him, but I guess he forgot about my American tax dollars.
Aquí lo esperan, Miraflores. No se tarde en llegar, cobarde.
So who is this guy? Well, former bus driver, and I guess former president now, Nicolas Maduro had led Venezuela since 2013 when he succeeded Hugo Chavez, the nation's first socialist leader. Here's the important part. Venezuela is not some random country that people pretend to care about like twice a decade. Because it's actually the warning label for what happens when you take a little corruption, sanctions, and throw that in the microwave for 10 years. Under Maduro, Venezuela suffered literal economic freefall and hyperinflation so strong it made the bolivar practically more useful as toilet paper than as currency. He also had shortages, repeated cycles of protests and crackdowns, and an exodus so massive it quite literally reshaped the population of the entire region. And when I say exodus, I don't mean a few people moving to Miami because they like the weather. No, I'm talking 8 million Venezuelans fleeing the country to go elsewhere, which is quite literally like an entire nation's worth of people. Because they said, yeah, we're not staying here for this shit. Now, keep in mind, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in the world back in the day based on the fact that it has the world's largest proven oil reserve. So to Maduro's supporters, he was an anti-imperialist, anti-American, and to literally everyone else, he's the guy who helped drive one of the richest countries in Latin America into the ground. I will hand it to him. It's impressive what he was able to do. I mean, it's like when you're taking a test and you're trying to get all the answers wrong, you gotta know all the answers to the test, because otherwise you would accidentally get some right. Basically, Maduro got every question wrong on the test. The U.S. has hated Maduro ever since he took power. Washington indicted him in 2020 and has long accused his government of abuses and fraud. He supposedly won the 2024 election, but we're pretty sure the opposition actually won in a total landslide. Which brings us back to January 3rd, 2026, when the U.S. decided, yeah, we're done playing the strongly worded statement game. Because really, this wasn't some little raid. This operation, from what we know, took months of planning, rehearsals, and a whole military package, including a mock house for training, and over 150 aircraft launched from bases all over the hemisphere. I mean, quite literally, probably the most insane Call of Duty mission you've ever seen in real life, in our life. I'm not saying the dancing caused this, but I'm just saying it might be possible. It was definitely the dance. That's having an even worse start to the new year. Iran! That's because the Iranian rial has absolutely collapsed in the last year. Against the euro, it's worth, let's see. Yeah, that's not good. How about against the dollar? Oh, yep. That's pretty bad. Turns out having a usable currency is kind of something a country needs. And here's where it gets spicy. On December 28th, the Bazaris, a traditional merchant class of Iranians that have always supported the regime, shut down the Grand Bazaar in Tehran. And the guys who have had your back for like 45 years say, yeah, we're done. That's kind of a bad sign. And it's not just Tehran anymore. The protests have actually spread to all 31 provinces of Iran. So far, over 2,000 protesters have actually died. And unlike previous protests, 2009, 2019, 2022, this time feels different. And the government response has basically been crack down, blame outsiders, pretend everything is fine, and roll out a financial aid plan that is actually so insulting it's almost comedic. Because yes, the government of Iran tried to calm people down with financial relief that essentially translates to $7 a month. $7 a month. I mean, yeah, we'll keep the government. I'm down. I'm sorry, but $7 is like what you find in your coat pocket accidentally, and it like makes your house. And shockingly, it did not calm the streets. I don't know who saw that and protests at home. You would think that'd be enough for 2 weeks, but no. Trump still wants Greenland. And when I say wants, he's been threatening military action against those evil Lego set building Danes. Is Denmark our friend? Yeah. Have they controlled the island since the 14th century? Also, yes. Would it be shooting ourselves in the foot with a 12-gauge shotgun to go to war with them? No. It'd be more like dropping a grenade on our foot. And let's be real here. Is the United States really going to go to war with Denmark and our friends over a floating icebox? All right, no. I'm going to bet my entire life savings, which is that looks like $4 United States dollars on that. It's not going to happen. But Trump has said we're going to do something with Greenland whether they like it or not.
We are going to do something with Greenland whether they like it or not.
Translation, we'd like to buy it, but there's other options on the table if they don't let us. I don't know what those options are, to be honest with you. Trump has even floated the idea of paying every Greenlander between $10,000 and $100,000 to convince them to join the United States, which is better than the $7 from Iran. So let's have Iran join the Union too. Yes. For context, Greenland is home to about 56,000 people, which at $100,000 a person is essentially $5.6 billion, which honestly sounds like a bargain compared to most of the other crap we spend our money on. Imagine being paid to change citizenship. I mean, I'm down. I mean, if any of y'all governments want me, my price is pretty much a burrito bowl from Chipotle with double chicken and queso added on top. Anyway, Trump's argument for Greenland is national security. Greenland is strategic for the Arctic, rare earth materials, and for keeping the ops out the area. And honestly, he's not wrong. Greenland is strategically important. So that's other NATO members like Sweden are sending troops there too. But guys, believe it or not, peace with our best buds is actually possible because just look at how Denmark and Canada fought over an island with beer. Look it up. It happened. In other news, Bulgaria officially adopted the euro and joined the Eurozone on January 1st. So that's cool, I think. I don't know. I'm not Bulgarian. You tell me. There you have it, folks. 2026 just begun, and we only have 50 weeks to go. Be sure to join our first 100,000 legends before time runs out. I actually plan on having a human up.